Excuse me. All right, here we go. Ba-ba-da-dun, dun, 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 dun. All right, welcome back, everyone. It is another terrific Thursday here at the Pocket Dimension. If you'll bear with me, I'm going to be a little bit rattling and coughing tonight. Uh, I've got something got a hold of me. I don't know what it is, but I've been feeling pretty awful for the last couple of days. But that happens sometimes. So I've got all the chats popped out on the back end here. I still can't get stupid Social Stream Ninja to work right. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to get an auxiliary monitor, like a little 10-incher, that I can set up in front of me. So that's going to be it's on down the road a little ways. So though can't do anything about it this week. Can't do anything about it this weekend. I'm just glad that I don't have the coof. I was concerned about that. I took two tests today to find out why I was feeling so awful, and they both came back negative. So unless they're just bum tests that don't work, because I feel pretty awful. I don't know why I have everything in my chest this week. That just doesn't make any sense. I was feeling just fine the other day. So woke up Wednesday morning and I was just not feeling very good, that's for sure. All right, so I think what we're going to go ahead and do is keep on painting this 2025 Victoria Lamb model here. So we'll continue on with that one. Finish her up tonight, or at least get really close to finishing up. I hope you all out there are doing terrific. And if you're not doing terrific, I hope you're doing wonderful. And if you're not doing wonderful, I hope you're doing at least fair. Hope you're managing. Hope you are managing. Just remember, it's just another day until the weekend. So, you'll be alright. Just make it through tomorrow. And we'll take a little break and do it again next week. It is what it is, I guess, right? Alright, so we'll squeeze out a little bit of that pale blue that we were using the other night. Didn't need quite so much of it. But there it is. We'll pick up some. And we'll repair a little bit that I didn't realize was actually supposed to be her pant leg here. Going into her boot right there. Probably can't really see it very well. But that is actually her pant leg going into her boot there. So we'll just fix that right up. Just a very odd way to go there. So, but that's going to be. We'll have to play around with it. Maybe have to touch up that brown again a little bit. Getting a little bit out of the lines, but that's okay. I've never been one to really stay in the lines, so to speak. But yeah, I wish I knew why I felt so awful. I got this thing caught in my chest. Doesn't make a lot of sense to me. It's not the coof. Doesn't feel like bronchitis. Like the usual bronchitis that I usually get. So I don't know. Do not know. But I took my car in on Tuesday for the wheel bearing. Just took a lot longer than I wanted to. Took a while to get home. I don't know why I got so sick this week. Really couldn't afford it, quite honestly. Got projects I'm trying to get done at work. We're so undermanned. It's not even funny. Get that dark earth, flat earth again. That'll be good. Yeah, I know there's an incoming ad break. I don't need to see that. No duh. Alrighty then. Let's see. We'll use this bad boy here right here. This is a number 2 by, who is it? Master's Touch Fine Art Studio. That's a Hobby Lobby special right there. We'll get out a little bit of the Nova Orange and touch up her sash. So we'll do that. Pumpkin, what are you doing down there, buddy? What are you doing? He says, never you mind, I'm being a cat. Hello, how are you? On the lap here? You snuck in, folks. He snuck in. And I just didn't have the time to coax him out. Usually, if I give him a treat, he will come out from underneath the shelving units. And I can get him to outside the room here. I don't care how long the ad break is left. I'm not watching the ads. I can't see them. Nobody else can either because nobody's watching right now. So that's okay. As far as I can tell, anyhow. Remember, folks, it's always better to do 2 or 3 really thin coats than one big fat thick coat. Even on the little details here. What are you doing, Pumpkin? What you checking out over there? Studio lights? Huh? Getting a little close to the power switch there, pal. I have to take drastic action here in a minute. Alright, let's go ahead and do her face. Do her fair skin here. So we started off with Pro Krill Bright Shadow Flesh. So kind of a more of a pink undertone, I guess you'd say. What are you doing? Look out. No, that's mine. You cannot play with that. That's mine. I know it's on the floor, and therefore on the floor is the domain of the cat. But leavings from laser cut stuff is not for you. Oh, for crying out loud. Jammed the pin down this thing to open up the nozzle, and it's still not opening up. Alright. Now there we go, maybe. There we go. So we're going to use some Reaper Fair Skin to go over that. Excuse me. Oh my goodness. Fair Skin to go over the we're just actually going to use water instead of. I usually like to use the Merlin's Magic Medium, but I think water will be fine for right now. So we'll just catch it back here. And we don't need to go too much on here. Maybe too pale. Maybe too light. I don't know. We can always throw a flesh wash on there and see what that does. You know, nothing wrong with cheats, little cheats like that. Not everything has to be perfectly brush blended. Nothing wrong with using washes and the like. Nothing wrong at all. So, but we'll just go ahead and do this. Gives her a little more of a wintry look anyway, a little pale complexion. So that's alright. And then we'll pick up some more of this We'll redress her collar a little bit where we got some flesh on it. Pull some of that away. Those two pale colors are so close together between the flesh and the pale blue. Very interesting. Now let's go ahead and touch up around her sash a little bit. This is all subject to change, you know, as it goes along. What you doing, Pumpkin? Coming up? Say hello to the people? Huh? Okay. You want to see what I'm working on? Is that the idea? Is that the idea here? Huh? Is that what you want to see? You got to be up on my lap. Oh, we don't bat. We don't do that. That's why I made that sticker this year. Knock it off. All right. I need to take you out. No, I don't. I need to take you out of the room here. So we're going to use this flat earth once again to touch up the gloves and the belt, boots, any other kind of webbing on there. And I think I will use some Merlin's Magic Medium on this one. Just because. Can't always do it with water. What are you doing, Pumpkin? Alright. Folks, I gotta take the cat and put him outside of evict him from the pocket dimension. Alright. Out. All right. So. Alrighty then. Here we go. So I'm glad it's not COVID, at least according to the test I took. So I should be okay for this weekend, I hope. Has some things planned. So that's good. So, get this up closer. I don't know. I gotta get some better cameras or something. Better cameras. I thought I was getting better lighting here. I don't know. Things are. I got a lot of things I got to do here to this particular with this particular setup. I think it was good starting out, but I need to come up with better things. Problem is finding those things, having the time to research those things, and the just need better equipment all around. You can help by liking, sharing, and subscribing if you're watching. If you haven't already, that can help me get to a point where the channel can help me get some more, some better gear. That'd be pretty terrific. Or you can use the W.GG code, Rocket Fuel, ROKKITFUEL, and get 10% off your order of light to no crash energy drink. I like it. I've used it. Try not to use it in the evenings because that will just keep me up late, you know. But it's definitely a decent product as far as energy drinks go. That's Rocket Fuel, ROKKITFUEL at W.GG for 10% off your order. They've got a wide array of custom shakers. That's your little tumbler. As well as gear, stickers, duffel bag. Pretty nice duffel bag. I haven't bought it, but it is pretty nice. Let's see. Looks like we got some straps here that I might have missed. Straps right there. Yep, and right here. Here a strap, there a strap, everywhere strap, strap. JP Gotrokkits had some paint. E-I-E-I-O. Watching me on a CRT cathode ray tube. Wow. That's some old school right there. Very cool. How's it going, DD? That's pretty wild, man. Probably doesn't look any better. How's DD tonight? I'm working on these figures that I got at the Victoria Lamb booth at Adepticon. I didn't get too many, so I think I'd like to just paint them and get them into this display case. Just because they don't really go with anything that I collect, but I thought they'd be fun to do, you know. I'm trying to lean into that more hobby side for the sake of hobby than necessarily having a game to play with it or using it to play a game. Video is a square, yeah. Well, my video is usually a square, quite honestly. For whatever reason, this camera doesn't, like, it puts out 4K, but it doesn't seem to care for whatever it is. What's that? 1820 by 480 or whatever it is. 1920, 1620, whatever it is. Whatever it is, I can't get it out there to the correct ratio. I was looking at the settings, and I can't really get into the settings on this camera. It's just kind of plug and play, which is kind of a shame, as this is a IPVO camera, and it's actually pretty good for up close stuff. It's actually a document camera, so that's probably my problem right there. But as it is, it is what it is, you know. I'm going to put a little bit of, oops, I'm going to bump the camera. I'm going to put a little bit of Merlin's Magic Medium into that pale blue right there, just to preserve it, keep it workable just a little bit longer. And then I'm going to take some of this. This is regular Prussian blue. So I undercoated her armor with Vallejo dark Prussian blue, but I'm going to step it up to regular Prussian blue. And there are some funny little things that happened. I wound up getting some of that dark Prussian blue mixed in with some of that white that was, or that the pale blue that was on there. And it got an interesting little electric blue color going on. So we'll see what that can do. We might mix that in. So I don't know why, but I've been feeling like crap the last couple of days. I took the COVID test, and that came back negative. I actually did it twice just to make sure. Both times it came back negative. So I don't know what has got into me, but I've been feeling quite unpleasant. Tuesday I took my car in to the shop to get that wheel bearing replaced, and I had started feeling a little bit bad towards the afternoon. And then yesterday morning I woke up and I was just not feeling too great. Coughing and sore throat and whatnot. So that was unpleasant. But this is not JP's Wine and Moan channel. This is JP's Paint channel. So we're not going to talk about that. No point in it, right? Alright, so let's take this up a step. So we'll paint the edges of this armor. Do a little the old edge highlighting if we can. Clean that off. That's just got out of hand there. So we'll get some edge highlighting here. And we'll do some volumetric highlighting here. It's a little more than I wanted to. That's okay. If I do a blue wash on it, it might knock it down a little bit. But we'll see. We'll see how that all works out. So I'm just kind of building that up a little bit. Build some mid-tone highlights, I think we'll call them. Oh yeah, yeah. You can send messages again. Well, you never couldn't. It was just I was using the Social Stream Ninja, and it wasn't doing everything that it said it was supposed to do. So it was being really stupid. So what I just popped out all the chats. So I've got my Rumble chat, and I've got my Twitch chat, and I've got my YouTube chat. They're all popped out, and they're all sitting on my OBS screen, so I can watch them all as you do. So kept trying to do something fancy, and it just wasn't working out. For whatever reason, I actually had it to where it was I did all the things correctly, but it was just being so not working that I was like, well, I can just pop all these chats out and read them. Yeah, it kept getting the message failed to send. Yeah, yeah. I don't know what was going on there. They've got an update to it, but I haven't done anything with it. I don't even know if it's worth updating. Maybe just get rid of it altogether. Because I think if I just get an alternate screen, like a extra screen, just like a little 10-inch monitor that I can set up over here right in front of me where I'm painting. That way I'm not always having to turn and look at the screen, not having to look at the computer all the time. That way I can just have that right here in front of me. I think that's what we'll do eventually. All right, let's go ahead. Maybe too soon. Oh, it is too soon. I was going to go ahead and try to do some highlights on this, but I don't think I will yet. I'm going to go ahead and just keep on with this middle Prussian blue here. And going to edge highlight that right there. I may use a blue wash too, just to darken up some of those where those in between spaces on her armor here. So because I wasn't planning to use this figure with any particular army, I think it gives me a little bit more freedom to play around with my color choices. So that is kind of the plan here. So I just mixed in a little bit of that pale blue with that medium Prussian blue, and I'm going ahead and doing some edge highlights here. Which, like I said, it may be a little too early to get into the edge highlights right now, but I'm going to do it anyway. I'm just a wild man like that. Can't you tell? I'm just a stark, raving mad lunatic here. You can see it in my eyes. I just got that wild look in my face. That wild look in my eye. Not one to be trusted. I may even take this edge highlighting up just a little higher too. I don't know. Do a little volumetric right here. A little volumetric right there by that skull. Probably needs to go up a little bit higher on those edge highlights, but not all at one step, I think. Excuse me. So just do a little bit. I brighten it up just a smidge. See where it takes us. So the great thing about edge highlighting is it is how you do it and what you do. So you actually use the edge of the brush, generally speaking, unless you got a tricky place like this. That's a bit tricky right there. Might be too much up there. Might be too much. Let me throw a little bit of that mid-tone Prussian blue on there. See if we can kind of knock that down and maybe blend her out just a little. Where it's not quite such a stark step up. We'll see. We'll let that dry so I don't get gloppy and put tracks in it. Might have gotten a little out of hand with that one. I think what's most remarkable about some people is the lessons they learn from the places they work, and they take those lessons and they make something of their own with them. That's just a thought that crossed my mind. Excuse me. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Looks pretty good overall. Oh, I missed a spot or two here. Let's go ahead and get a little bit of that bright color going again. Pick up some more. And we'll just oh. Well, that's I had brown on the palette and I wound up getting the blue into the brown. That's not good. We're going for a clean look, not a dirty look here. Excuse me. Oh my goodness. All right. Here we go. Pick up this edge right here. It's kind of a rolled edge on that armor. And then we'll go right here. Pick that up. Thusly. And we'll just throw just a swipe right in there. Right around that skull motif on her shoulder pad. We'll just brighten that up just a smidge. And we'll just throw just a smidge right in there. Might be a little too much of a smidge. Excuse me. Beg your pardon, folks. Yeah, I think we're going to leave that as it is. I don't think I'm going to mess with it much anymore. I don't know what else I could do with it at the moment. Clean this up over here on that where that brown is. Right here where we got collision. We'll just take a little dab right there, clean that up. Take some of this brown. And we'll get that brown right there. Clean that up right there. So that orange is still just barely viable. Just get a touch right there. And get this white right up to the edge there. It's not white, it's pale blue. I keep calling it white because I'm going to use white here, but it is pale blue. And then, yeah. All right, let's see. I'm going to set this aside for a minute, for a while. It's 8 o'clock. So I'm going to grab the, I think I should grab the monthly monster and start working on that. I have neglected my monthly monster duties. So that needs to be rectified, I believe. And this month's is actually going to be both Remoras, the young one, the young Remoras by Nolzers, and the adult Remoras, because I'm actually a month behind, so I need to do both of these. And since one is going to be the same as the other as far as coloration goes, I think I should probably do both of them at the same time and batch paint them. They'll go to 2 different homes probably, but yeah, that's what we'll do. So monthly monsters, getting caught up on those. I completely forgot about it. Wouldn't you know, what with the excitement of Adepticon and some new figures just to play around with no purpose, wouldn't you know, I plumb forgot about it. In all this excitement, I plumb forgot about it. All right. So I'm going to take a bio break real quick, blow my nose. So I will be back shortly. All right, and we are back. Okay, so we'll go ahead and paint these both up at the same time, batch style painting. And I think we're going to start out with that dark Prussian blue on both of them. Not really sure what a remora is supposed to look like. I assume it's some sort of a big snow cockroach thing, lives under the ice and snow. So that's how we're gonna treat it. And yeah, let's go ahead and we'll key up the base here. And stick it to the round. So I'm just keying up the base here. You can't see it, but I'm just cutting little grooves across. I'm making it groovy. Give it a little more surface area for the glue to grip onto. So and we'll give it a little hug here to give it some, give it a little extra grip to it. I got these clamps at the dollar store. I think Dollar Tree, actually, if the Dollar Tree even exists anymore. Everything cheap is going out of business, it seems. Maybe that's why they're going out of business. Hey Miar, how's it going? Good to see you. So I thought I better get cracking on these monthly monsters again. Kind of had a little break in the action from them with Adepticon and last month being having 3 conventions, 2 of which I was able to make. The one I was sick, about like I was now, but I knew it was then. It was like bronchitis then. I don't know. Did I get bronchitis again? I don't know what's going on. But it's not COVID, so that's good. Test came up negative. I did it twice, even just to make sure. So that's good. It's really not reassuring, but I've got to run a paint and take at a convention this weekend, so I didn't want to miss that. Oh, I do not want cheap viewers on streamboo.com. Thank you very much. We don't need that kind of business here. Alright, we're going to report that bot. First, we're going to ban you. Then we're going to block you. And then we're going to report you. Spam, scam, bots, or tampering. Yes. Bots. Next. About what? 1:30? 1:30? Prop. Alright. Their specialists will review. About to purchase some metallics, aka true metallics, wax-based oil like sort of thing that fully dries and cures in less than a day. It can be polished and looks just like nice, Miar. That sounds like the old tester's rub and buff. You know it. Testers or somebody, I think it was Testers, they made a product called Rub and Buff for doing metallics, and it was sort of like that. You'd hit it with you'd put it down, you'd hit it, you'd rub it out, and you'd buff it down, and it'd shine just like it was sheet metal, you know. So. Well, I may just have to put up with some very hard to see. There are some mold lines right along the edge of his fins here, but they're really hard to tell. They're kind of well hidden. They exist, but they're well hidden. So I'm not going to worry too much. There was a couple right down here on his base. So. So this looks like a big bug that you might find in a science fiction adventure. I mean, bugs and critters, you know, everything from owlbears to rust monsters to anything, zebras, you can find in just about any adventure. It doesn't have to be a fantasy adventure. It could be a science fiction adventure. So, alright, we're going to... Let's see, do I have any big clamps? I don't know if I've got any big clamps. Where I put them. I know I've got some big clamps. I just don't remember where I put them. That's the problem with organizing your workspace. is that you're used to finding things where you had it, but you don't know where you put it after you've organized it. That is a problem. So, well, we'll just let that cure up. And once this is cured up, we'll see if this is done. Alright, we'll go ahead and get started on these remoras. Hey, Cyrus Wright. Good to see you. Well, no, you wouldn't, because you're on Rumble, Cyrus. I'm multi-streaming out to Twitch as well, and so Twitch sometimes has bot problems. They want to sell you. They want you to shortcut. They're trying to sell viewers or sell views so that you can advance further. But how you doing tonight, Cyrus? I've got you in the pop out. So I kind of stopped I was like, well, since the Social Stream Ninja wasn't working, I just went ahead and popped all the chats out, so I got them in their own little windows. Let's see, I need to find a big brush. Bigger brush to cover. That'll work. We'll use this. Yes, it is a Remoras there, Quantum. How you doing tonight? It is a Remoras. In fact, what I'm doing is I'm trying to catch up here because what with Adepticon last month, I didn't get my monthly monster out, so I'm going to be doing both of these Remoras. And what do you think I should do? You think I should give them both to the drawing winner, or you think I should do 2 drawings this month? I'm thinking 2 drawings. That way, but I think what I'll do is I won't take anybody's name out this time. Usually you can't win twice in a row. So, but I think I might just go ahead and adjust that this time. Maybe have both of them up, but do 2 drawings so that somebody could actually have both of them if they're really, really lucky. Say do 99 drawings, you right? Is that like 99 red balloons? Just go ahead and get this dark Prussian blue all over everything. So I think what I'll do is I'll keep it fair. So I won't take anybody's name out as though it were 2 months. I think I'll just leave everybody's name in. That way, if somebody wins both of them, they win both the adult and the junior Remoras. But everybody has the same amount of chances too. So if you're not subscribed over here on Twitch, go ahead and do that, because I don't have monetization on any other channels. So when I do, then I'll start putting anybody that joins or becomes a member on other channels will also be included in. Agent Smith, me. Almost finished painting my Slaves to Darkness, doing chosen at the moment. Oh, very cool. Slaved to Darkness. Well, if you're in the Discord, by all means, feel free to share your works in progress in the Discord. There's a lot of surface area on this guy, and there's a lot of paint getting flicked that I don't want paint getting flicked on these other figures that I've been working on tonight. Are those from the Vanguard Spearhead box or one of the older Start Collecting boxes? Oh, that's you guys talking. Now, if I were really smart, I'd pop these in the freezer and pop them off the base that they're attached to, because it really makes painting the undersides difficult. Getting all the legs, this leg and leg and leg and leg and leg, lots of legs on this guy here. But it's just paint, we can always go over it. It has a lot of texture on it. It'd be great for dry brushing. Less blending, less fancy tricks, and more basic, back to basic, quick and easies. You know. A lot of dry brushing, and then pick out certain things with some contrasting colors, maybe yellows. Maybe a little purple out to the edges. I don't know. Virtually finished Maggot King and Night Haunt 2, Agent Smith says. Very cool. Yeah, those tentacles on its face are gonna get purple, I think. Purple pink. They're gonna look downright slimy and icky and gross. see. 7 seconds. Yeah, Miara, you're getting denied by the filter there. Let's see. Atomic Mass just retired Emperor Palpatine and Imperial Royal Guard for second edition Legion. Jeez. Why? I mean, they got to be bringing him back. It's all right. I saw I as I gathered you weren't calling Quantum any names, but you were expressing your disdain for what Atomic Mass has done to Emperor Palpatine. Wow. That's crazy. I'm sure they'll bring him back. They probably nerfed him just for a little while before they figure out what to do with him. You can always play first edition Quantum. Nothing says you gotta stick to do things the Atomic Mass games way. You know? Or do like me. Break out the West End Games Star Wars miniatures battle. There's a deep cut for you. The only reason I bought into any of the Legion was because there was an outfit that stopped carrying it, and so they were having a fire sale, and I got everything for 45% off. So you could say, JP, you gotta thin your paints. Maybe you're right, but it's hard to tell on this. There's so much detail. I may thin out just a little bit here, add a little more. These pre-primed figures from WizKids would work really nicely with some of the contrast paints because it's kind of a gray undercoat. So they would actually work really nicely with some of the speed paint, contrast paint type products out there. So I could actually go a lot thinner and just let the paint do what the paint does and not worry about doing highlights later on. But I've never been one to take the easy way out. AMG blames Lucasfilm for them. I don't quite know if I believe them, right? Right, I got that. I've got the, let's see. I do some edge highlighting, like dry brushing, seems more natural. Yeah, I think you're right, Agent Smith. I mean, I generally do too. That's usually my way of doing things. Let's see. Got the AOS Malignant Start Collecting Box with Hex Rate, Spirit Hosts, Mortis Engine. That's two different factions in that box, so salty about that one too. Yeah, Quantum. that's the thing is I've gotten to the point with a lot of these companies. I mean, I buy what I want, but I don't expect them to use. I don't use the rules that they're designed for using with. Right. I like to find other things I can, other rule sets to use. I very much lean into that whole miniatures agnostic thing because that's kind of the way. That's kind of the way hobbyists did before. You know, I mean, before there was workshop, you would buy your figures and you would find rules, or you would find rules and then you'd buy the figures, or you'd make something. Excuse me. If they didn't sell it, you could make it. So that's why I like these Nolzur's figures. You know, you can use them for just about anything. You know, you got adventurers that crash their spaceship and they disturb a whole nest of these little dudes here. You know, so not only do they have to figure out a way to survive the crash and get their ship back up and running, but here comes a whole mess of these little dudes coming at them, you know? So, even though this is ostensibly for the D&D game, it doesn't have to be. You can stat this out with whatever you want it to stat it out at, as far as whatever your game of choice is. So, paint faster. I'm a mini painter, not a museum, right? I use Necron Dry over armor. Looks great over metallics. Yep. If they didn't change meta, then GW would go broke, right? Well, I mean, you do have to. I mean, they do want to do that because they need to be able to keep selling stuff. I mean, there was a point in the mid 2000s that Workshop almost went bankrupt. Believe it or not, they had kind of got a little too spendy with the money that they were making off the Lord of the Rings, and they were about 3 weeks from bankruptcy, as far as I understand. But excuse me. But those things happen. And I've got really nothing against Workshop particularly. I mean, there's a lot. As someone that works in the industry with a manufacturer, there's a lot to admire about them bringing everything in house and doing it all themselves. You know, um, they got a lot more control over their product that way. I mean, there's from the manufacturing aspect, it's really smart. The way they rake their customers over the coals and their terms for independent game stores, I'm not too much of a fan of that. Their prices, no thank you. You know, if they cut their prices in half or at least by a third, they might sell twice as much, you know. Why sell none when you could sell twice as much? Because I know at current prices, I'm not really interested in buying anything they're selling. I can find it on eBay for about half the price or less, you know. Used. Never be afraid of buying used, man. Just, you know, Casey's got that whole channel devoted to eBay mini rescues. And I know that I've rescued quite a few in my time. So there's nothing that says Workshop deserves your money. Age of Sigmar has skyrocketed in popularity. Yeah, yeah, it has. People complain about pricing, but not being made in China is a big plus. Yeah, it is. It is, especially with tariffs. I mean, like goods from UK are like 10% tariff, and people are having a cow about that. And it's like, I mean, it could be worse. I mean, tariffs from China are what 145% or something stupid like that. I mean, not to be. I think we can talk about that without being political, um, because those are just facts. That's just the way things are. Good, bad, indifferent. Whether you like the Orange Man or not, that's not the issue here. Um, the issue is that there's always cheaper ways to get things, and there are manufacturers here in the states. There are injection molding manufacturers here in the states. Atlantic at War Games Atlantic, check them out. They've got some good stuff. Now they don't have anything that's well. I was going to say they don't have anything that's power armor, but they do have the Valkyr, which are sort of that. They were designed by Mark Mondragon a few years ago, and they were by War Games Factory, and so now why he doesn't have the male versions of them, I don't know, but they're cranking out the female versions of the quasi futuristic German looking armor, power armor. But in the female, and they've got heavy troopers and they've got light troopers, and then they've got stuff that's good proxy for, say, like Krieg. You could even dress them up like Praetorians, and they've got all sorts of. War Games Atlantic has got all sorts of nifty things that are produced right here in the USA, as well as a line of STLs that you can invest in. Buy those STLs and 3D printer goes Bert, right? As they say. A squad of AOS Seraphon from a coworker to rescue, right? Well, I don't call them Seraphon Quantum Reveries. I call them Lizard Men. Seraphon. Seraphon. Who ever heard of such a thing? I popped these guys out of the blister the other night. So, I've got the Plastic Saurus from what was that, 5th edition with the Bretonnians. I've got them, and so I figured I'd get a couple of units of command for them. I can pick up stuff off of eBay. And quite honestly, here's the crazy thing. So old world stuff seems like it's expensive, but when you look at what it is, and if you're using the older rules, it's actually really economical. So like the orcs, right? So they had like 80 orcs. What was it? No, sorry. 40 orcs for like $80, right? Which was 2 regiments. Well, back in the day, the box of a regiment was about $35 anyway. So for what, $10 more, you're getting 2 regiments for $10 more than what you could get them back in 2008, 2009. So quite honestly, it's not a bad price. The dwarves are a little bit ridiculous as far as price goes. but maybe in their new balance, they might actually use fewer dwarves to do more damage. I don't know how tough they are right now, but they were a little spendy. But the elves not a bad price. Goblins not a bad price, really, when you break it down. And if you don't play the old world, if you just start playing fifth edition, you know, anything from say between fourth and sixth edition, uh, fantasy battle. If you play those games, the prices that Workshop is charging for their old world stuff really isn't that bad, considering. Thinking next army skinks. Yep, skinks. Next army flesh eater courts getting chaos dwarves this year in AOS apparently. Wow, nifty. Are they going to have the big hats or are they making them? See, they did some Forge World ones here a while back when Forge World was a thing, and they didn't do the big hats with them. They actually moved them back to more of the chaosy sort of helmets, like the rounded top helmets. That was their last iteration of Chaos Dwarves. But I like the Assyrian style that they had going on, with the big hats and the braided beards and Lamassu and the Bull Pegasus thing going on there. There's a bull with bat wings, sort of like the opposite of a horse with like eagle wings. So pretty nifty. But quite honestly, their prices, if you go to, I don't know, like I said, I don't know what their game design for Old World is like, but if you're if you're trying to finish building your old armies from back in the day, you're really not getting a bad price on their units. Excuse me. As far as workshop prices go, now you can beat their prices otherwise. Like, um, if you wanted, you could actually buy Oathmark elves. They're like $32 for 30 figures in their box. They're a slightly different aesthetic, but if you're just starting out with fantasy large scale rank and flank fantasy battles, you know, a box of Oathmark elves or two, um, you're doing pretty good that way. That's not a bad way to go. They don't necessarily fit in the workshop aesthetic. They're close, but they don't necessarily work with what I've already got, or else I would probably pick up a couple of boxes. Although, if you're not mixing them in the same unit, that'd be fine too, because then you could just say they're from a different part of Ultuan. Let's see. Not sure, but I hope more like Warcraft dwarves with blunderbusses, etc. I don't know why they wouldn't get blunderbusses, Agent Smith. I mean, the dwarves have their shooty guys, like with the funny little cannon. Pretty tough little cannon that they carry around. So, I mean, I would think that Chaos dwarves would be the counter to regular dwarves. Basically, have the same equipment, just a different aesthetic, maybe some different rules to give them different flavor, even though they're similar in nature. I mean, they always had some nifty, just some crazy big artillery pieces. Quantum says if I was smart, I'd paint up and trade off the multiple factions more of my elf army for more of. Paint up and trade off for more of. Yeah, sure. For more of his elf army. If I had more time, I would paint, and I would sell painted figures for god awful prices. I don't think anybody would really want to paint the prices that I would ask, though. Pay the prices I would ask. Although I was thinking about doing like a Patreon, right? So, like $1 is like thanks for your help. $5 is like the average thing, and maybe $5-10 is like an average. Maybe $10 gets you a sticker and a patch or something. Then maybe it shoots up to like $300. You get a custom painted figure to the highest level. I don't know. That'd be kind of interesting. I don't know if I could do that. I don't know if everybody's got. I mean, in this economy, that'd be ridiculous. And I'm a nobody. Now, if I were like Sam Lenz or somebody like that, I could probably do something of that nature. Be like 10 slots open for $300 figure painting. But I do not have the audience depth to look into that. That's just a kind of a funny thought that I've been kicking around in my head, but I'm never gonna do it probably. So, the things we dream of, right? What dreams may come. Yeah, yeah. Chaos dwarves with vehicles. Yeah, that'd be pretty neat. What dreams I have, though, right? Visions of grandeur. Something like $250 for a unit of 10 guys to a decent tabletop level. Uh-oh. I'm getting splatter on this. Am I getting splatter on that? I can't see. I don't think I'm getting any splatter on that, but whew. And my Nova Wolves are out here. Hopefully they're not getting splattered. But dreams become nightmares when your storage space becomes full. True? I think I could agree with that. Speaking of storage space, I gotta go through my emails and wipe out about 2,000 emails so I can clear up some more space in my Gmail stuff. Cause evidently it decided that one day it wanted to start saving my pictures and videos, which I didn't ask it to save my pictures and videos. I had it all on my local device there. So Google wants to tell us what's good for us, you know. These big corporations want to Tell us what's best for us. And then when they screw it up, they want you to pay for more storage space. Well, if I can get a what's it, a 1 terabyte remote drive or external drive for $90. You pay that much just in a year worth of storage in some cloud platform. The wife says, "Paint it or sell it." Right? Don't see many Warhammer millionaires. No, I guess not. Don't worry about catching up on the emails. Most are probably Nigerian princes anyway. Actually, I get a lot of updates from. Most of it is notifications. So I need to turn off a lot of notifications, I think. That's very true. Sell it, paint it or sell it. Paint it or sell it. Problem is finding things, getting things when you find them, because you don't know if you'll ever be able to find it again. So this hobby has a, a bad tendency to cause FOMO and hoarding situations. So, or you say, "Hey, that's pretty nifty. I could do an army for that game system, and I could do an army for that game system, and I could do." The problem is we have finite time. Infinite, infinite intentions, but finite time. So I don't know why I'm painting these legs blue. I'm thinking if I go over them with brown, and then go over them with like a horn or bone color, that might be pretty cool. Now I don't really know anything about the ecology of a Remoras, so the juveniles might be a completely different color from the adult ones. I have no idea, but you could do sort of a lion and mouse scenario. You see a little baby Remoras that wants to eat your face. You think, and really it just needs, maybe it has a broken leg, so you set a splint and it goes off, and then years later it comes back. It's this size and it saves your life. The old story about the lion that had the splinter in his paw and the mouse fixed it. You know. to set that off to the side and let that dry up. And let's see. Let's mix in some of this pale blue. See where that takes us. I'm going to clean out this brush and grab. I had some of my miniatures on display in the local Warhammer shop. After I showed them photos, they asked me if I minded having them appropriated for a month. Was chuffed. Nice, Agent Smith. Very cool. That's a nice feather in your cap. Have them on display. Very cool. That could lead to other things, you know. Commission work, competitions. On the other hand, I always think, what's the worst case scenario? Maybe they're, for me anyway, I'm always suspect of things like that. They don't want to show them off because they're so great. They want to show them off because they're so bad. This is a what not to do. You don't want your miniatures to look like this, guys. That's I'm always worried that it's going to be something like that, you know. Hey, can you help us out with this? Can you do this for us? Yeah, I can. Oh, yeah. Oh, well, we were just using you as an example of what not to do. Oh, okay. Lowered expectations, right? For this unfortunate victim, it may already be too late, right? Here we go with some dry brushing with a dry brush from, what is this? Maple, golden maple, which I think golden maple actually probably supplies a lot of these other boutique brands. If you look at the handles, they just paint the handle different and put a different label on it. And then we pay a hobby tax. The hobby tax. The hobby tax. I don't know that I necessarily want to leave this just dry brush dark blue, light blue. I think I'm definitely going to pick out some interesting pieces of these little guys and do something really cool. Maybe I show some pics of my mini. Yeah, Agent Smith, if you're not in the Discord, go ahead and hit !Discord, and you can join up my Discord, and you can definitely put them in there. Love to see them. You're more than welcome to post them up. But hit !Discord, and that should take you to. That should give you the invite to my Discord. And go ahead and post up there or like. So, or if you've got an Instagram, you can put that in the chat there, and we can take a look. Now I can't bring it up on screen because I'm not that technologically adept yet. I'm still learning this. After doing this 3 years, I still haven't learned how to do that. And that's a basic skill. But that's me. I just don't have the time for a lot of that kind of thing. And we'll get all this stuff here. Cool. Looks pretty good. Love the grimdark theme on minis. Yeah, a lot of people do. A lot of people do. I like to go more high contrast. I find it easier to see. Sometimes the grimdark stuff, when you see it from the distance, it just kind of looks all brown to me. But when you get up close is where you really see the craftsmanship on the grimdark style there. So there's a place for everybody's style. There's no one right way to do the hobby. Everybody gets what they get out of it, you know. So some people like the grim dark, some people like more high contrast. Some people paint in a comic book style, you know. Everybody's got different approaches and they're all viable, you know. There's no one right way to do it. The only right way to do it is the way that gets paint on your minis. That's the only right way there is. That's the way I see it. Personally. I airbrushed the candles, the light sources. Nice. Very cool. That's a good way to do it, for sure. That's an easy way to do your OSL. So I'm just mixing up that lighter color there. May have to go a little more of the pale blue by Vallejo. Get that in there. That's pretty cool though. I mean, I've never really messed around with OSL much, but that's pretty cool. It looks good. There was a piece in the Golden Demon this year that was kind of like a hallway, and it looked really good. I don't remember the person that did it, but it got a finalist pin at least. But it was two figures. It was a vampire hunter and a vampire lady, and it had them squaring off in a hallway. And so he had the torch, so he had kind of that yellow glow around him, and the yellow was on the torchlight was on the wall behind him and on the floor. And then she was framed by window light coming from the window. So moonlight, it was pretty cool. I love watching it evolve from the sprue to the tabletop. That's the real joy of this hobby. Yep. Yeah, it is. Getting to build it, getting to paint it, and getting to play it. Which, if you're not watching Build, Paint, Play on Tuesday nights at 7 o'clock p.m., you should do so. That's Dave Taylor and Jake Krajewski, both of who used to be with Workshop, and now they just got accepted onto the Army Painter factory team. So you'll be seeing them at more events. I know they run the paint and take at San Diego Comic Con. So, but Build, Paint, Play, Let that be your word to live by. Build, paint, play. I always say at the end of my videos, I like to say, keep on painting and keep on playing. So it's a very it is very satisfying feeling to have something that the model is created, but you actually. Okay, so let me get this word straight here. So, miniatures are a collaboration. They're a collaboration between the designer, the sculptor, the people that make the castings, whether they're plastic or metal or resin or 3D printed, and then you, the final step, putting paint on it and making that figure come alive. Because you are the final person in the step in telling that story about that miniature. The colors that you choose tell a lot about the story of that miniature. Have they been out on campaign for a long time? Are they covered in goo and filth and mud? Or are they parade ready? Are they clean? Are they, what's their story? What colors are you using? Are you using colors that would denote them being rich? Are they entertainers? Maybe they're dressed in yellows and reds and harlequin checks, like a bard would be. Are they poor? Are they painted? Are they dressed in mostly in browns and greens and kind of muted colors? Which, as we know, that muted the way that the way that common folk are portrayed in movies dealing with the Middle Ages are actually wrong, because the Middle Ages were actually a riot of color. I mean, there were some places that had sumptuary laws about colors that you could wear if you were of one class or another class. So, sumptuary laws, I think is what it's called. So you are actually the final step in telling the story of that miniature. So it really is a collaborative effort, which I think is really cool, because it's really collaborative art. Some people don't think it's art. I think it is. It's every bit as much art as painting on canvas. I mean, it takes in sculpting, right? Sculpting and mold making, things that they do in art. Just because it's a production item and really a consumer good doesn't mean that it's not art. Take a look at some of Roman Lapot's stuff and tell me that it's not art. Eric Swinson, tell me his stuff's not art. I defy you. It absolutely is art. Every bit of it. Mixing paint is an art too. Yeah, exactly. Getting the consistent color. What you want. Very true. Very true. Cool. He's got a face much like a Jabberwocky, doesn't he? I wonder if the lore behind him says that he's some relation to the Jabberwock. Very, very Jabberwocky style face. Don't know much about art, but I know what I like. Yeah, exactly. Very true. Well, I usually go till 11 tonight on Thursdays, but I'm kind of pooped. I've been sick. Been trying to get over this thing. So I may close it up early tonight. I don't know. I usually go till 11, but I'm kind of not feeling. Hey, Patty. How you doing? I just saw you come in there. I was not looking at the screen, buddy. If you're still watching over there on the Rumble. So I'm going to clean out this dry brush here with some brush soap. Pick it up. Get good lather going. Still listening. Nice. But I may cut this a little short tonight. I'll see where I am in another 15-20 minutes here, but I have not been feeling good the last couple of days. So, but it's not the coof. I took the test and it came back negative. So, I don't know what that means. Do I have remoras? Yes, I have 2 remoras. So, this is the baby. It's just a baby. It's just a baby. And I have this one, which is the adult. So, there it is. It doesn't feel like hay fever, and it doesn't feel like bronchitis there, Agent Smith. Hay fever usually hits me in the sinuses, and this is in the chest. And it just hit me all of a sudden Tuesday afternoon. I just started feeling a tickle in my throat and a cough coming up from my chest, you know. So I've been stayed in from work the last couple of days, which is not good because I'm on a project by myself because we don't have anybody. We are short right now. And it's pretty awful. Remori. Probably so, Pat. Probably so. Remori. Could be. The baby is lovely. Well, I mean, it's got a face that only a mother could love. So, I mean, you can definitely tell whose kids is whose. So, I'm going to set those aside. That's some pretty good progress on those for this evening. So those are going to be the miniatures of the month, or the monthly monster. Sorry. The monthly monster, that's going to be what we're going to be giving away on the Twitch channel. If you are a subscriber. So. Dry cough of 3 weeks and gave it to wife and daughter. Hope it's not the stuff your elder son brought home. Yeah, I hope it's not that too. I've heard that's kind of a thing that's been going around. I don't know what it is. I don't want it. I don't want it. I don't like it when things like that stick around. Especially being 51. I'm in the age range to start dealing with pneumonia, pneumonia and the like, So that's not a pleasant thought. Is that age range. That's what got old Jim Henson. So don't want any of that. I'm sure he thought he just had a little cough too, but he had walking pneumonia, and it got him good. We lost a very creative person. Some would say gone before his time, whatever that means. Feeling better after 3 weeks of draining and such. Yeah, Patty said he's over on Rumble. Patty just said that he had about 3 weeks of coughing and nasal draining and everything. So, whatever this thing is, it's not the coof because I took the test and it wasn't that. But, so, evidently it's something that's going around. It's funny how diseases do that, they go around like that. And you could even necessarily not even be around somebody that has that. And then what? Well, the next thing you know, you got it. You don't know where you got it from. The gas pump handle, maybe? Who knows? Hard to say. Don't stay on late on my account. Man, I'm glad I caught you live twice this week. Yeah, Pat, I'm glad you did too. Good to see. I'm glad you were able to stop in and say hello the other night, even though the social stream ninja wasn't working. What I did is I just popped out the chats and put them on the back on on the back here. So now I can just pop out the chats and watch those individually, well, all together. I did like the idea of Social Stream Ninja, but it was not working for me. And I just don't have the time to really sit down and fiddle fart around with it. So, as it is, too busy. Too many demands on my time. Got a paint and take I'm running this weekend, so I'm glad that it's not the coof. Though I may wear a mask just to set everybody's mind at ease. I don't know if it would do much good. So, but I do like to give people their money's worth as far as they take time out to watch my streams, and they know that I do this for 4 hours on Thursdays, so I hate to cut things short, but I also do need to preserve my own health too. So it may be a short one tonight, folks. So we'll see where we get with this young lady as far as painting up here. Let's see. Get some of this. We'll do a little bit more work on here. So she's got a couple of straps on her armor that I think I want to... Oh, that's the wrong brown. That I want to get. So, Pat, did you catch any of Miranda's stream last night? The War Machine keynote from Adepticon? So, for those of you who are on Twitch, I don't know if you know who Wargamer Girl is or not, but she's had a channel on YouTube for many years. She actually started doing content right around the same time as, say, Adam Loper and Mini War Gaming, Beasts of War, all of them. Well, she has pivoted to stream every other week now, so where she talks about a subject. And last night she kind of reviewed the keynote address from Steamforged Games, who has now taken over War Machine, and they've actually folded. Looks like they've folded War Machine in with Hordes now. So like the Trollbloods or the Trollbloods, Trollbloods. They're classified different now. I think they're called the Southern Creel or something like that. Come on, weird fiber, get off of there. Storytelling class with the boys. Okay. Well, it's pretty good. It was funny. I think Jeremy was like in the Facebook. He was like, "Oh, I'm not gonna watch," but he was watching anyway. He's like, "Yeah, it's not for me. This new iteration. You should play that back, Pat, and look for his comments in the chat. I think you can play the chat back while you watch the thing. I think you got a couple of things you could probably tease him about. Yep, no more War Hordes, just War Machine. Yep. Some ivory. We'll mix a little bit of this ivory in. I could also use ice yellow. But ice yellow or ivory, either one's actually fine for mixing in. So mix in a little bit of this with that brown, the flat earth brown from Vallejo. I've used quite a few Vallejos on this because they're what I can reach. So I'm going to throw a little dot of Cuttlefish Colors Magic Medium in here. Off to the side, really. Just get a little bit out for what I need. And I think I'll go ahead and start highlighting her leathery bits. That doesn't sound right. Sent Insta request. Nice, Agent Smith. Thank you very much. I'll see to that after I get off the air tonight. So just get some of the old little highlight going on here. So I'm just paying attention to this highlighting that I'm doing here on the on her belt and her holster here, and her scabbard. There. And the frog right there. Although I really should wait and do that after I touch up that metal right there. But I don't think I'll worry about it much. I don't think I'll worry about it. And a little bit on her belt here. Just a little touch. More of a suggestion of a highlight than an actual highlight. Well, that's pretty cool. Kind of subtle. It's not a big step up in contrast there, but kind of subtle. So that's cool. Looks good. If I do say so myself. wonder if this will be worthy for a competition. There is a competition in at Origins and Gen Con as well. They're more independent competitions put on by the Hobby University track. So, Metalhead Lynn Orzik from Metalhead Minis and like Neil Duffy are kind of in charge of that. So I wonder if this would be a good figure to put in. If I do this right, I'm not doing like, I don't think I'm doing like display quality work here. I'm just doing average work. I'm not really trying to make this super amazing. But I think I might, if I like the way this turns out, I might just throw it into a competition just to see. What do they always used to say? Throw it, put up the flag, send it up the flagpole and see if anybody salutes. So it could be technically good, but not really be great. I don't know. But the Origins painting competition is getting bigger. It was bigger last year than it was the year before. So it's actually coming right along. We're really trying to get miniatures back into a good place at Origins. Miar says he's got a ton of things for Saturday he's not looking forward to. It sucks to overload your Saturday with a bunch of things, regardless of good things or bad. Yes. Yeah, I mean, there is... Sometimes there's too much of a bad thing, not enough of a good thing, but too much of a good thing is never great. Miar. So, hopefully you can figure out your process for taking care of all those things you need to do on a Saturday. So hopefully you don't get overwhelmed. It's one thing to be overloaded, it's another thing to be overwhelmed. Just take one thing at a time, start it, see where it takes you, Miar. I wouldn't get too overly concerned, too upset. One thing at a time, buddy. One thing at a time. And if you don't get it all done this weekend, there's always next weekend, you know. Put my streaming radio on and paint away. Yeah, exactly, Agent Smith. It's a good hobby for your mental well-being too. It is. It's a good place. I mean, you kind of get lost in the process. Um, you'll notice sometimes I forget to talk because I'm concentrating. So it really gets your brain and your hands engaged all together, and you kind of get in that, what the kids used to call getting in the zone, you know. So it's definitely a good place to kind of shut out the world and Definitely, it's helpful. Obviously, you don't want to do it while you got problems, because you probably should take care of problems, get those handled. Don't just retreat to the hobby desk. But it is a good place to kind of get centered again, put everything on hold, let things work out in the back of your mind instead of the front of your mind, where you're not necessarily quite so concerned about it. You know? So put you on a little bit of a mental timeout, Unless the cat comes in. Yeah, that happens sometimes. Or the wife. Well, I've never had that problem, but the cat does sometimes come in, which Pat will attest to. I did have the cat in here a little earlier. He was all about trying to get in, so we got him out though. All right. Well, folks, I think they call it locked in now. And with that, I'm out. All right, Pat. Have a good night. Thanks for stopping in, man. So, Patty's Parlor over on Rumble. He writes some cool games. Check him out on whatever giant. Oh, I can't even remember right offhand. It's Giant Slayer Games, I think .com. I can't remember. Um, Agent Smith says the hobby taught him patience and concentration, and he doesn't close the door not locked in, right? Giant Slayer Games. So check out Patty's Parlor over on Giant Slayer's Games. Giant Slayer Games. Check that out. All right. I think I'm going to call it a night too. It's almost 10 o'clock, and I think I've done about as much damage here as I could do for the night. Getting a little wiped out. I probably need to roll, get some sleep. Like I said, I'm trying to get over this awful sickness, and we'll come back on Tuesday where we'll do some more work on the remoras for the monthly monster giveaway. Yeah. Okay, so thank you all for being here. Need fresh eyes for painting. Yes, very true, Agent Smith. All right, so we're going to say good night to Rumble. Let's see. Go back to the title screen as we do. Come on, wake up, computer. Yeah, here we go. So, like I always say, folks, no matter how bad the day was tomorrow, the sun is coming up tomorrow, and the world is a better place with you in it. Keep on painting and keep on playing. So